hello sisters, I've been married for the past 2 years. My husband gave me the beating of my life recently, and the reason was that I don't accord him the respect after all the hard work and sacrifices he has made to take care of me and my family. I got injured as a result of the severe beating and I received and needed treatments, she says. Okay. Now it says, I had no money, and the only way was to get drugs from my ex-boyfriend, who's a nurse in my husband's community. He is married, and I'm aware that I am married as well. I met this guy for the drugs, and my husband pounced on him and started abusing him. He claims my ex is planning to take me away from him. As if that was not enough, my husband went to the police station to report him and also went to my family with the same claims. The matter has been settled now, and my ex has been freed, but I'm confused about how to proceed. Do I have a future with this man? More so, I'm 5 months pregnant. All right, so that's our first message for the day. I see the ladies thinking hard. Olivia, let me come to you.
I'm just asking myself a lot of questions here. I'm just wondering, okay, there's no excuse whatsoever for this guy to be beating or to be abusive towards his wife. Like, no excuse. She's pregnant.
Right.
Who does that? But then again, I'm also trying to flip the coin and ask myself questions like, she said she didn't have any money, right? Why didn't she ask her husband? Do you see, it takes two to tango. Yes, the man is abusive and all of that, right? But my other question too is, did you give him a reason to doubt you? Has this been going on for a long time? I'm not condoning his abuse. I'm just saying that, why does he feel so insecure in the relationship? Why is he going out to tell your family, friends, everybody that this is what you've done? He's gone to the extent of jailing your ex. Do you see what I mean? Like, there's a bit of
backstory.
Yes, there's a backstory, and we don't know how long it's been happening and whether he's had enough. But assuming that you've had some kind of communication with your ex, or you've had some kind of reason to, I don't know, make him feel like that's crime. For me, no, the man shouldn't be doing that. And I feel like everything can be ironed out. I don't think you should be asking your ex for money. But then again, also flip it again. I'm also thinking that maybe this guy, right, maybe he's been too abusive over the years. He's a huge wall, or a big wall, that you can't even talk to him, you can't relate to him. I mean, for the fact that you're pregnant and you're asking somebody else for money, for me, I'm asking questions. Is it that you think that he wouldn't give it to you? Has it also given you the reason not to be able to approach him? Is he abusive to the extent that you can't talk to him? So you're trying to solve your problems out of marriage. For me, I have too many questions and answers, so I wouldn't be able to give you like a definite solution. But from an abusive point of view, I don't think that's a relationship to be in, because one, he's insecure, two, he doesn't trust you, there's trust issues, there's communication issues, you're not comfortable with him, he's also, holding high a red flag. So I don't think you guys have settled, in your relationship. I don't know how long you guys went out for, I don't know how long you've been married for, but I don't think you guys have settled and you guys have found your rhythm yet. But I don't also think that it should be a relationship you should be in. There's too many, unless the question is, do you want to work it out?
Right.
Do you still have love for him? And the question too is, the other thing too is, the guy would definitely need a lot of help from a psychological point of view. There's trust issues. You guys are not talking. How do you move forward?
Right.
Do you want to make it work? That's up to you. If you don't want to make it work, to let him know. But I also don't want you being pregnant, being constantly abused in that relationship. But there's too many loose ends for me here.
Right. Okay. Rosie, what do you think?
I actually would not be surprised if this man was verbally abusive when they were dating. But sometimes people verbally abuse you, and because they cover it up with gifts and cover it up with, words of affection, you tend to forgive and forget and think that after all it's just an abuse. He's just saying this because that's what he's used to, until he starts laying hands on you. Now, there is no excuse whatsoever to beat your wife. There is none whatsoever. More so when she's pregnant, 5 months pregnant. Now, at 5 months pregnant, most likely the bump is visible.
Yeah.
So even if your emotions have actually, you see her and you see your baby that you're supposed to love, something is supposed to stop you in your track to say, if not for the fact that you were pregnant, I would have done A, B, C, D, E. But to lose that kind of sensibility, self-control, for me, I think it's not about having trust issues with the woman, but it's about his own anger issues. He doesn't know how to control his anger. It doesn't matter who it is. It is the fact that when he's angry, he can't control his anger. And he vents it out upon the one who is weak. Now, the thing about people who take advantage of people who are, when they are angry, is that sometimes, look, somebody can insult you so much, you are so hurt, that you can't even ask the person for water. So the fact that the lady went to seek help outside is not because she can't ask him, but it's because he's put her in a state where she feels unsafe, probably asking him. And for the man did not complain, or the man did not accuse her that, oh, this 5-month-old pregnancy doesn't belong to me. So I'm not thinking that his problem is really the fact that the woman is sleeping with somebody else, but he wants to put the woman in a state where she's so needy and doesn't have help.
Right.
So the fact that she's got somebody to help her out is irritating him so much so that he had to deal with that person that helped her. And the fact that that person happened to be the ex made it even worse. And so this is what I'm saying. They've sorted it out now. How did they sort it out? My question is that if a man gave a woman that kind of beating, the sorting out should not be now. The fact that it's now means that he's gotten away with a lot of crimes. This probably may not be the first beating, or probably there are other shoves, pushes, maybe banging of doors, verbal abuses, but this is the first real beating. And sometimes it's like breaking your virginity. Once he's beating you like this severely when you're pregnant, trust me, it won't be the last time. And it has nothing to do with you. Because in her submissions, the man never accused her of being unfaithful to him. So it has nothing to do with whether he trusts her or not. It has everything to do with him wanting to verbally, emotionally, physically abuse and dominate her so that she has nowhere else to go.
Right.
So for me, I think that he has anger issues that need to be dealt with.
Could be.
Yeah, to dealt with. And for the woman, it is not a safe place to be. Because now, once you get pregnant, it's not just about you. It's about you and the baby. So if you have to go and live at your mother's whilst all these things are being sorted out, I would advise that. And you yourself, you also need someone you can trust, like your mother, for instance, if she's alive and she's available, who can take you through the process of healing. Because to have a husband abuse you is not a joke.
That's betrayal.
It sits in your brain for, it's not a joke. So I think that it shouldn't be taken lightly. Where counseling has to be sought, it should be sought. Where therapy has to be attended, it should be attended. But I don't think it has anything to do with a woman. It's the man's anger issues.
Right.
Period.
Okay. Sabi, I'd like you to weigh in all the way from SA. What are the South Africans saying?
Well, I find it very interesting. I like to listen to the words that people use, the language that people use. First thing she said is, he gave me a beating of my life. And that's such a powerful thing to say towards yourself. She's saying with her own mouth that this was so traumatic. It was so horrendous, that she needed medical attention. Number one. Number two, this woman is pregnant. Something that I feel very strongly about is generational trauma. So what's happening also then for me is now her child is going to have womb trauma. And it's a real thing. So she's pregnant, she's getting abused, and you must just imagine everything that happens to that child while that child is in the womb and she's in that situation. It's a real thing. So now you've got a child who's got womb trauma. She stays with this guy. You've got a child who's going to have trauma from childhood. You've got a child who's going to be staying in a situation of fear. And then the third thing was when she said he's got the money, which then tells me that her options are limited.
Right.
So I find it interesting when she says, should I stay with him or not?
Right. Whether she has a future with this guy or not.
I mean, she already knows the answer to that. She already knows the answer to that question. But it's almost like she's asking it so that she can gain permission, so she can feel better about making the decision.
Right.
But she's living that life. She's living that truth. She's living that reality every day. And if she's saying that her husband laid a case against this guy and he went to jail and then family involvement was involved, my gut instinct and my assumption says that the family said, oh, no, you can sort this out, you can deal with it, don't leave. So I don't feel that she's got family support, and that's a huge assumption because we don't know.
Right.
But I'm just going according to what she said. I don't feel she has family support. I also feel like this is the kind of situation, if she left, she would be judged harshly. And I also feel that she feels that if she left him and she doesn't have money and she's probably not working, what is she going to do?
Right.
So she's between a rock and a hard place. She knows that the environment that she's in is not conducive. She knows that the way she's being treated is not right. And the only way it will change is if she makes a decision. Sometimes people are so afraid to start again and they're like, oh, but I've given so many years. I've put so much into it. But sometimes it's always better to start again and you're happy and you're healthy. I just think that sometimes just be brave enough, because this guy really, really needs help. For me, I'm feeling here there's a sense of control. He has a deep need to control.
Yeah.
And that tells me that his outside life, the things around him, he doesn't feel in control of. The only thing that he can control is his wife. That's a very dangerous human being for me. Because he's got nothing else to hold on to, so he needs to dominate.
Right.
There's no ways that you can call that love. No ways in hell. But he knows that he's going to get away with it. He knows that there are no consequences. And so he's going to continue doing it. So she needs to understand that no matter what decision she makes, this will not stop. Instead, it will escalate. And maybe it's the beating of her life, but she's definitely been beaten before.
Oh, yeah.
And if he has no issue beating her while she's carrying his child, I think it's really clear. It's just going to get worse. And the only time it will change is when she decides to change and make that decision for herself. Nobody else can.
True. Yeah. I think your points are apt. This is not a I personally don't see a future, and I think that was after telling us everything you said, your question was, do I have a future with this man? I personally, if I were in your shoes, that's the point at which I will start making my exit plans if I do not leave immediately. That's no relationship to be in, no marriage to be in, and especially not when you're carrying his child as well, or your baby, abuse, no matter what, is not accepted. It's unacceptable, totally unacceptable. And I don't think that you should take that from anyone, and especially not the person who's supposed to protect you and love you and call you his wife and his own, right? So, dear lady, think through everything we've said and, take your own decision on the way forward. But we wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for watching Sister Sister on your favorite City TV. Now, don't forget, if you want some more exciting content, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We call it the City Tube. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications for fresh updates. Sister Sister, every Friday at 9 p.m. only on City TV.